is life in the USA compared to Kenya?
The work situation here is way better than Kenya. 100%, because you're supposed to be at work at 8, you're supposed to leave at 5, and not 5:03, not 5:04, not 5:02. When you come in on time, you leave on time, which is something that I will never forget, because I never used to leave work on time in Kenya. If you leave work on time, you are now seen as someone who doesn't love their work.
So you go earlier than your time and you're expected to leave later than your time?
Yes.
Why?
Because
is anyone paying you overtime?
You need to show that you're in love with your work.
Oh Lord.
Like you don't want to leave it. Like you're like, no, you want me to leave you work. Actually. You're like, what is water? Oh, you mean water? Oh, like you are hit with that. They are also hit on the other side. They're like, and then you're like.
So we just want to give a shout out to everybody that's watching us from the 254 Kenya. Yes, so many of you watching us from Kenya, and it's amazing to know because Kenya ni home.
Instagram, I've not seen any of the questions.
Oh wow. Okay.
So the only questions I've seen are from YouTube because I was answering most of them. So most of the questions you guys are asking, I'll be hearing them for the first time. And that means I'll be as genuine as possible because I've not thought about it.
Do you guys fight as a couple?
Hey.
It's not that bad, guys. No. At the end of the question and answer, we have a major announcement. Hey guys, this is Elle.
And this is Nick.
Welcome back to our channel. We're so happy to have you here, guys. Today, we're doing the Q&A that we promised last week. Our very first one on this channel so many years later. We're so excited. Guys, you asked us questions upon questions upon questions. If you submitted a question or a comment or anything, you responded to that question tag box. Thank you so much. That's just so nice to hear from you. So thank you. It's not gonna be very quick because there was a lot of questions, and today we intend to answer all the questions, or at least touch on all the comments that were made during this week that just ended.
Guys, if you missed our last episode, this is the Q&A session. We put a request to you that you guys can ask us questions, and then from that is what this video is about. So we are trying to just gauge and know what you guys are thinking, because it's been 3 years of us creating content without having a Q&A. Yes. And so finally we are doing it.
It was so nice to see like what you guys think, what you guys have been liking about the channel, what you guys have been enjoying, the questions that you guys have. Just nice to feel like we are actually connecting with you guys. So thank you so much. That was really good. So Nick, like he said, he hasn't seen all the questions. I've seen all the questions.
I don't think they've seen that part. That was before we started.
Oh, see, then you say what you said before.
So guys, I've not seen I've not seen any of the questions that from Instagram, especially. Instagram, I've not seen any of the questions.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the only questions I've seen are from YouTube because I was answering most of them. So most of the questions you guys are asking, I'll be hearing them for the first time. And that means I'll be as genuine as possible because I've not thought about it.
Okay. Yeah. And also, if you didn't ask a question, also stick around because some of the questions were quite juicy. So by the time you finish watching this, you have known us a lot better, and we'll be going through all of them. We'll also answer some of the questions that were asked on the comment section of that video. And then guys, remember, at the end of the question and answer, we have a major announcement coming. So that, I promise you, that will be worth sticking around for. You will be learning something new that's coming to the channel. Stay tuned. This is gonna be very fun, very lively. So this is what we've done, guys, because there was a lot of comments. We wanted to thank you guys for enjoying our channel. A lot of people said they really enjoy the editing, the quality of the videos, the fun, and what we show within ourselves, like what we do, everything that we've been working so hard for to make sure that it's coming across. You guys were actually recognizing that, and I think that means a lot.
Just to bring us to perspective, we are a married couple, we are Kenyans, and we live in the US, Arizona to be specific. A
lot of you told us where you're watching us from, which was a specific request that we made to you. So we just want to give a shout out to everybody that's watching us from the 254 Kenya. Yes, so many of you watching us from Kenya, and it's amazing to know because Kenya ni home. motherland. We love Kenya and we are Kenyans. We will forever be Kenyans regardless of wherever we are. It's just nice to hear from you guys that you're supporting us all the way, and we have you. Tuko na nyinyi hapa kwa heart.
Also, the people who are watching us from the US, there are a couple of people from all over Africa. I think I spoke to someone from South Africa, Zambia. Some of you are not living where you are located, but yes, we thank you. Oh, someone from Canada. I think I saw a couple of people from Canada and a few people from here. So wherever you are, you're important.
And there was someone from the US that was asking if we can do a meet and greet with people here in the US, and we found that so interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, so
yeah, the US is so huge.
I think it was someone from Iowa. She or he was asking if we can do a meet and greet. Let us know in the comment section, like which state you're in. We need to know, because if we are ever going to organize something like that, if it's easier for people to come here, or if it's easier for us to go somewhere and meet the people, we can do that in the future. It's not something that we've planned or are planning to do like in the near future, but it would be something nice to do, right? Like,
I think also knowing where the people are. For instance, if we know you are in Oregon and we are coming to Oregon, we would make sure that we put it in our stories that we are actually going to Oregon, and then we organize and we meet. So we'll put it like in advance, and we have like some link. It will be very easy for us to come and link up.
Yeah, we do travel quite a bit, and I think even in the future, God willing, we'll be traveling even more, like to different places that we haven't been yet. So let us know where you're from, so in case we plan to come to your state, we can plan to meet up. Or if we get to a point where we now want to do like a big meet and greet and people are willing to travel, either us or you guys, we can organize something like that. But I think that would be a beautiful thing. I definitely think building a community is like that's what I'm about. I would love to meet everybody, would love to meet a lot of people if possible. So who knows? Another thing that was apparent from the comments is that we've been encouraging quite a number of you guys that are in your immigration journeys, especially people going through the K1 or the spousal visa. As you guys may or may not know, Nick joined me here through the K1 visa, and we put that in our Endless Love series. One of the videos was about the K1 visa, and I think a lot of people watched that and it was able to help them in their own journey. That was really good to hear. Our story has inspired you to pursue something and see it come to fruition. That's really amazing. So congratulations to all of you that have gone through the journey and made it, and now you're with your loved one, you're with your hubby, you're with your wife. And for those that are in the journey currently or are anticipating to be in the journey in the future, we wish you all the best. And then there was a lot of video requests for like daily routine, a day in the life, and just our day-to-day normal life. And I think what we can say about that is we'll work hard to incorporate those in our videos as we move along.
And we've done a few of those, but if you still want them, we can still do a couple, because our days are usually not the same. I feel like we shoot a lot of videos, but we don't get all of them out.
And as we go along, now we can do them more specifically, like say, okay, today we're just gonna shoot for this reason, like a day in the life, or what we eat in a week, or what we eat in a day, or you know.
Ooh, yeah. I think basically what people are asking is, can you shoot the main parts of your life so that we see what you guys do, so that we understand even deeper, like your experiences in the US. I think that's what they're saying.
Okay, yeah, we can do that. We can do that. We can make that a point of focus for 2025. There's a lot we can show you guys. All right, so we'll go to the question and answers now. And one of the main questions that we got, which I think we're just going to answer it as one, is people really want to know about Arizona living. Like, how is it living in Arizona? A lot of people had questions about living expenses, especially like if you're moving, let's say from a different state or from Kenya to here, if you're gonna choose between different states, how does Arizona compare to other states? Like the schools, water. Some people are concerned it being a desert. Are we worried about like water supply, or have we ever had any issues? Social life. Tell us what you think about.
I think Arizona, first of all, that question is very loaded. So we can break it down in terms of months. Like this is January, and during this time it's cold. So let's talk about weather. It's cold, and around June it will warm up. So right now we are talking about around 63 Fahrenheit, which means like this is amongst the coldest days of the year. And then in June, we'll shoot up to around 115, 118 Fahrenheit, which is like 40 something degrees Celsius. It will continue for a couple of months. How many months? 4 months, 5 months of real heat. In terms of water supply, the water supply here is normal. Like, I don't feel like there's loss of pressure. I don't feel like there's a day that we've gone without water. It's because we have a very big dam called Hoover Dam, feeds Arizona with water. And I don't know if there are other sources of water within Arizona, maybe wells and everything. I don't know the nitty-gritties, but we have never run out of water despite this place being a desert. In terms of schools, we are just getting started with school.
Yeah.
So we don't know anything much about school, but I know Arizona doesn't have like the best education. In terms of rating, Arizona comes like amongst the worst in education, by the way.
In the US.
In the US state.
Yeah.
Meaning the level of education is not as good maybe in states like California or in New York. So you can just go Google and see the education level, like where Arizona ranks and things like that. In terms of social life, I feel like the Kenyan community here is huge and is growing. And you have seen that in the videos that we've shot when we are having Mashujaa Day. So when you have Mashujaa Day, we usually go out there, and I can put a clip here, and you can see we have a lot of Kenyans at this point, and it's really nice, but people are busy. You can have friends, but you cannot have the time to see them. We have people we know, people who are also YouTubers like us, but we don't have the time to see them, you know? Work-life balance, you have to really be intentional for you to have like friends over, to have time with friends, to interact with people.
Definitely social life in America, it differs from social life in Kenya. In Kenya, social life is everywhere. Like, you just step out of your house and there's a neighbor who's saying hi and telling you, what. Now you know what's going on with all your neighbors. And, you know, if you want to hang out with friends, you just call them, and in the evening they're there and you guys can hang out, or you go where and do what, you know, all those kinds of things. But here, it has to be like more intentional. Like, if you need to see your friend, like, you usually call like or text like 3 weeks ahead of time. Are you going to be available on this day so that we can hang out? And they might say yes, they might say, oh, I'm working that day or whatever. Or you might even make plans, and then when that day comes closer, something else comes up and one of you cannot make it, and so on. So it does make it harder to maintain like a good social life, but it's also very busy. You're busy, they're busy, so it just has to be very, very intentional. I feel like maybe in Seattle, when I was there, like, it was more social. Or I think maybe when you're younger, when you don't have too many responsibilities, maybe it's just yourself, so all your responsibilities is just work or school, and then now you have time to hang out with friends. So I think it also depends on the stage of life you're in, like what your responsibilities are, what your priorities are. But in our case, it's like we are so busy, it's actually hard. We have to be really, really intentional to make time and see people and all of that. So yeah, but we have very good friends who are all over the country. Like, we have most of our friends are actually out of this state, right?
I feel like it's more like family. More of our friends are out of the state.
Yeah, like we have friends in California, we have friends in Washington.
No, I think unless we equate, but to me, I see it as we have more family out there mixed up with friends. We know so many people.
I mean, knowing people, is that really like a social life?
But also you can have friends, but they're out there, so you feel like you just know them too.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
I think this is the right statement. You have more friends out of the state. It's not really us. It's you. You have more friends out of state than here. That is a correct statement.
I would say so.
Because when you say we, I'm like, who are my friends out there? Surely friends are people you share like the most intimate, sometimes, okay, not really intimate, but the closest things in your, like, you can open up to. So I think there's some level of closeness, and for you to be that close, you have to have cultivated it over time.
Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of time.
So that's why I'm saying the level of connection you have with them and the level I have. Mimi, I tag. I've tagged this.
You tag along.
Yeah, so I am getting to know them through you.
Okay.
But yes, I can consider them our friends, but they are more
They
like
are
if you look
my
at the
friends.
levels,
Yeah.
they are stronger on your
Yeah.
end than my end.
Okay, that makes sense, and I think that's true. I think even like throughout school and throughout my time in Washington and everything, I've had so much time because friendship takes a long time to build. You might think you're friends, but like over time, it really reveals like the true value of that friendship, and that can only happen through time, right? Another question that we had was, why did you leave Seattle, and what are the pros and cons of living in Arizona? I left Seattle because I wanted to come to Arizona. So the reason I wanted to come to Arizona is because my family is here, meaning my parents and my siblings. So I wanted to be closer to my parents and my siblings. And then another reason is the cost of living. Washington has quite a high cost of living, and I knew that Nick will be joining me soon because we were going to be starting from scratch. We are in a place where it's not so expensive for us to lift ourselves up from the ground. Another reason was Nick didn't want to be in a cold state.
Hey. Guys, perspective, what is the weather right now? What is the temperature in Washington?
It might be the same.
Let me tell you
right
guys,
now.
no, Washington is super cold. We were there for a trip. So Washington right now is 45 degrees Fahrenheit. And right now, we are at 60 degrees. That's a 15-degree difference.
Yep.
It's cold in Washington. By the way, that's another thing. When you are thinking about the US, when you think about the states, each state, I have never understood this, but each state has a different experience. If someone is in Oklahoma, for instance, their experience in living in the US is 100%,
so
almost
different.
100%,
Yeah.
70% different than us. The only thing that is the same is maybe the president and maybe the roads, the rules of the roads, because even the state, the laws are different.
Yeah.
When it comes to the way schools are governed, very different.
Payment, like like how much you make is very different
Yes.
in everywhere you go, and then also the cost of living is very different everywhere. Okay, so that has been one of the pros actually. Like it's been quite affordable living here, would you say, or no?
Me, I don't know. Me, the only comparison I have from here is Kenya. So it's talking about affordability. I feel like this place is expensive, but in comparison with a state like California, this place is relatively cheap.
Cheaper. But it's not cheap. Actually, the cost of living has been going up in Arizona quite significantly since the pandemic, I think, because a lot of people during the pandemic and after have been moving here from states like Seattle in California,
Especially California,
because people were able to work remotely, so you could make California money and live in Arizona. And then also they have been improving the minimum wage for Arizona and other places too, anyway, as inflation continues to go up. When you do your math and you actually like manage your money well, you are able to survive quite well. It's not as cheap as it used to be, let me just say that. The other question is, the cons of living in Arizona is the summertime. Like the heat is crazy. It's crazy. Like he said, like we get up to 115, 116, and those days I don't even want to get out of the house. I just want to stay here, put my AC on, close all the curtains, and just stay in my cocoon. That's it. The pros, we have family here, and that helps with childcare and things like that, and also social life, because your family also can become your friend, can be part of your friends. Another question is, you and Nick went live with Avant Healthcare. Is it possible to bring a nurse who can share their experience? I actually know of two friends who have come here through the Avant, so maybe I can check with them and see if they'd be willing to share their experience somehow. So we can work on that. Not promising anything, but...
Just a question, is there anyone, maybe you can write in the comment section, who through that video of Avant was able to get connected with them, and maybe you are in the process of either coming here or you are working with them? We just want to know.
How is life in the USA compared to Kenya?
Hey.
We will let Nick answer that because he was in Kenya. He was living in Kenya most recently.
Hey, those are loaded questions. That is like a full
video, man.
Like, first of all, you don't have your family here, so that is one thing that has been deducted from your life. So you'll have, like, for me, maybe for you it's different. So for me, I feel like I don't have my family here. I don't see them every weekend. I can't just call them anytime because like
Time
right now
difference.
they are sleeping as we are making this video, and when they are awake I'm asleep. So those are the differences. Number two, when you step out there, you're not seeing people. Yeah, the social life is very different because all you see is cars passing in and out, but you don't see the people. It's very possible you'll not know your neighbor for even a year or 2 years. You'll just see cars coming in and out, but you'll never see who's in that car. The work life, I feel like the work situation here is way better than Kenya. 100%, because you're supposed to be at work at 8, you're supposed to leave at 5, and not 5:03, not 5:04, not 5:02. When you come in on time, you leave on time, which is something that I will never forget because I never used to leave work on time in Kenya. If you leave work on time, you are now seen as someone who doesn't love their work. Yet you've been there since 7:30 most likely, because I used to go to work earlier than my time.
Oh, so you go earlier than your time and you're expected to leave later than your time?
Yes.
Why?
Because
is anyone paying you
need
overtime?
You need to show that you're in love with your work.
Oh Lord.
Like you don't want to leave it. Like you're like,
Oh,
no, you want me to leave you work. Actually. You want me to leave you. And then if you leave it, the way you walk away and you're still holding the door and you're like, and then you show emotions. That is in terms of work. And then the other thing is, I feel like in terms of social life we've talked about, and maybe the political landscape, the political life, you don't feel like the politicians are on your neck with everything and everything you're saying and everything you're doing. You just live your life. They do their part, you do your part until election comes. In terms of food, you will miss food from home 100%, and you'll not feel like the food from here really tastes like food from home. For instance, if you go to a restaurant and you look at the menu, everything is new, almost 90%.
Yeah.
When you walk out there, of course you feel you're different because when you talk, you feel like some people don't understand you, and you have to just deal with that. People are from different parts of the world. Also, the people from here, most of them have never interacted with someone who has a dialect like yours.
Like yours, yeah.
So you talk, they're like, what?
And then water? Even them, they talk like, and you're like, what?
You're like, what is water? What is that? Oh, you mean water? Oh, Uko like, shock on me. You are hit with that, they are also hit on the other side. They're like, and then you're like. So that is life. So that's the life you'll get used to because, and good thing is they're a bit kind about it. So you'll just realize they don't take it very personal.
Yeah.
Just move on.
Just move on and don't let it interfere with what you're thinking of doing.
Yes.
Don't make someone make you feel like you're less capable because they've never heard your dialect. In fact, you're better than them because you've already had their dialect before they had yours. So don't make that like something that blocks your mind that I can't do it because people don't. They will learn to understand you. Yeah.
And I also believe that when you come out here, don't shortchange yourself. Don't feel like you are less of anything. Just know that you've lived in two parts of the world. You are living in the second part of the world, and therefore you have more knowledge about both sides. And the other thing, if you are professional from another part of the world, please, when you come here, continue with your professional. Because there's something that I feel like people usually shortchange themselves. You feel like, oh, maybe I'm not as bright as this. No, you are very bright. All you have to do is get into this environment, adjust, and even excel more than even the people who are here. Because even for you to come to the US, you go through a lot of challenges in them trying to see if you are professional, if you have education, and that education counts even in this place. I think that's very important to say.
Yeah, very good. Okay, the next question is, what advice would you give us struggling financially with kids at a young age? I'm 22 years with 2 kids. It's from one of our followers on Instagram. So she didn't say where she's from, but I guess Kenya.
So I'm assuming she has a partner. Because would you give us, not would you give me? So we are going to assume it's the two of you. And I think, that's a loaded question. That's a question that requires us to ask more questions. Are you working?
Yeah.
Are you not working?
Yeah, what is the situation?
What is your situation?
Oh my goodness.
And you have 2 kids, like, how old are they?
Yeah, because struggling financially could be like, okay, we are working, but we're not making ends meet. It could also be like we don't have jobs at all.
Yeah.
It could also be like the kids' expenses are so much, depending on how old the kids are. Like generally, when it comes to finances, there is different ways. There is different things that go into it. There is making the money, spending the money, and there is managing the money and saving the money and investing the money. So there are so many areas we could talk about. If it's income related, I would say if it's two of you, if either of you has a job, if it's only one of you who has a job, the other one probably needs to also get a job so that you are putting your money together. If you're by yourself, do you have a job? If you don't, maybe try to find a job. I know that can be extremely difficult, especially in Kenya, but is there anything you can do by yourself, like with your hands or with your skills that you know, or on the computer, just something you can do and get paid? Of course, legal things. But if you're making money, if let's say you and your partner, if you have one, are making the money, but the money is just going through the fingers, is not being enough, the question is, how are you managing the money? Because you might not be managing it appropriately, and that can be an opportunity to manage it a little bit better. Maybe spend less on some things so that you have more for yourselves and the kids, or that could be a place to look at. Also, like, if you do have the money, are you saving up for upcoming expenses? Because when you have kids, when they reach this stage, they will need A, B, and C. When they reach the next stage, they will need this. And sometimes that money can be hard to come up with all at once. So you need to save as you go, right? For what you're anticipating as you continue with the journey. The thing with kids is they are there now.
These are questions that I think should be like a one-on-one when someone is asking and you are also responding. Like, I don't know if we can do an Instagram live one day, and I hope she is able to see this so that we can be able to try and answer these questions as we go. Because
I feel like it's such a loaded question, like so many aspects, so many different things, so many ways. Like, we don't have enough information to answer this question for you right now.
First of all, the fact that she's 22 and she's actively thinking about how she can improve her financial life is actually a big step, because there are people who are 22 at your age and they are not even thinking about the future. They're not even thinking about the present. The present is just happening. Have that mindset and ask us a question about it.
I like that idea of doing an Instagram live, and just like, if she's comfortable with that, kind of having a discussion about it. She can ask us questions, we can ask her questions, and then be able to provide like a more all-encompassing. Yeah. And another question she had was, do you guys fight as a couple?
Hey,
it's not that bad, guys.
No, I'm just saying, who doesn't fight?
The way you said that is like, oh, it's like we're in mood two and two.
No, me by the way, I don't usually ask, do you fight as a couple? Me, I know all couples fight.
All couples fight, guys. Like,
it just depends on how the fight is. Are you at the immediate, like, what do you call it, entry level, intermediate? Are you at the professional level? Or are you at the knockout level? Knockout is where you fight and now the courts have to be involved. Now that is the bad conflict.
And let me tell you, fighting is inevitable, because fighting can be as simple as, even I think even in this video we just fought, like, he's like, no, move this here. Me, I'm like, I moved it here. Like, we have a difference of opinion. He thinks it should be here, I think it should be there. But like, how do you like, first of all, how do you relate with someone telling you move this here? That's one. And then, like, okay, now you come to a compromise. Okay, let it stay there. Okay, now, like, how do you go through the whole, hey, you're telling me to move this here, and and then coming to a compromise, and then actually getting out of that and being in a space where now you can go back to your normal lives? Like, how much damage does your fight do to the relationship? That is the biggest question. I
feel fights are like a garden. The way sometimes weeds come out and you have to dig those weeds out, and then after some time you make that ground level again by just making sure the soil is soft again, and then you plant something like flowers. And when someone else comes and sees it, when you have just dug it out, it looks very messy, and someone is like, what the hell is this? And then later on, if the same person just comes in and sees what has changed and now it looks like a perfect garden, they'll be like, oh, this is the most perfect garden I've never seen. But it required you to dig, you know. Yeah, that's what I feel like fights are like, or should be, in relationships. You can fight, yes, but is that fight leading to you growing? Because don't fight about the same thing forever. Fight, yes, because you are different. We are different. She's right here, I am here. We've been brought up very differently. At one point she was in the US for a long time, I wasn't. So we have very different mindsets, but we try to align them as we go. It doesn't mean that we will never fight. If you are a couple and you've never fought maybe for 3 years, God bless you, because if you are happy, it's very good. But I feel like it's like work. When you encounter a problem and you know how to solve it, you are better than someone who has never encountered that problem.
Yeah.
Because number one, you will now know how to work with your emotions. You will know your strengths and weaknesses, and you will know where to stop.
Yeah.
You know? So you will be fighting, yes, but you know, okay, this is the point we stop, and we just take a time out, and then when we come back, we will talk about it, and most likely we will have a conclusion.
Yeah.
Me, that is what I believe. Me, we have fought, honestly, because number one, when I came here, Aki, that's another video for another day.
Oh my God.
Right?
Oof, so many things
So
you could say.
the short answer is
yes.
yes.
But I think the thing that makes a difference on how your fight is gonna go is what is the intention behind it. And this is something you asked me sometime, and it actually like hit me like a brick. What's the point? Like what are we trying to achieve with this fight? Because if you're intending to fight for the sake of fighting, you will fight, and that fight will go all over the place. But if you're fighting with the intention, you still remember, like, this is my person, we are still together. The aim is not to just fight and, I don't know, win or just be in a bad mood or whatever. It's not
Who's
knockout.
going to fight? Who's going to win?
Yeah. That too. Like, we still need to come back together as one. Like, if you have that in your mind, like, it shifts the mindset completely. Because sometimes, like, you just have fight in you just like, you know, like, and then you have to think, okay, what am I fighting about? Like, what am I fighting for? So I definitely can confidently say our fights have, on my end, because I realize sometimes this is different, like the way that you see things. Me, I feel like we fight way less than we used to.
Yes, of course.
Oh, you agree? Okay, good.
Hey, we used to fight in the beginning because I felt like, first of all, I was in a different environment, and I had stresses around the change of environment. When I came here, it was too hot, so I had no friends. It was like completely separated. Then during that time we had COVID, so I was completely separated from everything. And now if we disagree on something small, it can easily be big because I have stresses the whole day. I am in a new environment. I don't have friends.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm calling my family and they are not picking because they are asleep.
Yeah.
And I feel like you are here with your family and I am not. And in as much as it is a silent war, I am fighting within.
Yeah.
And then when you bring a real fight, now physically, I am ready for the fight.
Not physically. We never fought physically.
Not physically. Like physically, I mean like verbally.
Oh, okay.
When you bring the fight verbally, hey, physically, anyway. When you bring the fight verbally, now you find me in a state where I've been jogging the whole day.
Oh, you're ready.
I am ready. And now when now things have changed, I feel like right now there's a lot of things that I've already accepted. Number one is during our day, my family is very far, and I can contact them in the morning. And also there are things that I've settled, like I know my way around. Then I was dependent on you 100%, moving around. I didn't have a DL. So I had so many things that were constraining me, and they were enough to cause a fight. So even for those people who are coming from Kenya to join their spouses here, I know you'll go through this phase that you just find yourself angry. When someone upsets you, you're more upset than normal. It's because, number one, you're missing home. Number two, so many things have changed in your life. And number three, you feel it's unfair, because how is it that this person can move around and me, I'm here? I don't even have a car. I don't have a job. I don't know where I'm headed.
Driver's license.
I don't even know how to talk like these people. If I go to this shop, I don't even know if I say something is $1.75 and I give out the money. I didn't even remember that there's taxes also. So you're not even sure how things work. If you go, you look at the grocery store, you don't even know half of the things. So it's so stressful. So you may end up fighting a lot for things that you yourself even don't even know.
Just to add on to that point, maybe we were also lacking on the skills, like how to fight fair, and how to respond to each other and all of that. So throughout time, like, we've really had to learn and unlearn a lot of things that have enabled us to be able to literally understand each other, because we were feeling like, I don't understand what are you saying. Like, we are talking the same language. Even sometimes Nick was saying, I think we have a language barrier. Like, you remember you used to say that?
Yeah, I think there was something about her that I didn't really understand.
Yeah, and even me, I felt the same way. I'm like, I don't understand you.
The way she talks, she's like, bring me that. I'm like, can't you see I'm doing something else right now? How can I stop what I'm doing to bring? I meant it later. I'm like, the way you said it is you want it right now. And I think she has changed. God. She's actually changed a lot, and she's growing to understand how to talk to me. And I also know that sometimes maybe she may not mean right now. She may just mean later. What are you doing? I'm
looking for, because I feel like the way that we are talking now, you remember that question for the things that we've struggled through and all that? I feel like that is a good answer to that question. Let's go to a question from Moses. He said his name is Moses, born and raised in Kenya. He loves our life story since the time Nick arrived from Kenya to having baby, now traveling as parents. Thank you. I'm currently going through the spousal visa process to join my wife in Texas. Your journey has encouraged me in ways you won't imagine. Thank you for being authentic and true to your faith. My question to you both is, over the last 3 years, what is the one thing that has really brought you guys together, and what have you struggled through as friends, a couple, and as parents to an amazing daughter? That was one of our main struggles, not understanding each other properly. Yeah. Like, those days were tough. Like, I feel like the whole transition was very tough on us, because basically Nick uprooted his whole life and came to join me in a time where even me, I came to a new state at the same time. So I was also transitioning from being a student to now I'm trying to figure out my career, and moving from a state that I had lived in for 10 years to a new state that I don't know, and also transitioning into this life of being together, getting married, and quickly after having a kid, getting pregnant, I should say, then having a kid. It was just a lot happening at the same time, and I feel like it was just too much. It was too much for all of us. For me, I thought it would be an easy transition, because I was like, well, we've been in love with each other. We know this is what we want. We know we want to be together forever. So what else could we ask for, right? But then, like, on the ground, it's like the reality of what is actually happening was just too much to handle. And I think even those fights, sometimes it wasn't anything like we should be fighting about. It's just the stresses that are surrounding the situation that's there. So the transition period was tough. And so I would say, like, when you're able to join your wife in Texas, like, just be aware that it might get a little stressful when you're transitioning, because I think transitions are not easy. And just be ready to do the work, like, to understand each other, to figure out, like, ways to communicate properly, to figure out ways to fight fairly and all of that, because if we didn't learn some things along the way, it was bad.
I think it's also about perseverance, and also your partner. If your partner, it depends. I think people's experience will be very different, because there are people who will transition, come here, and they'll find someone who maybe hosted someone earlier, not really like maybe someone they loved, but just someone they hosted, and they kind of saw the struggles they were going through, and if that person was able to like clearly articulate that this is what I'm going through, they would be anticipating that their partner will be this way and that way, and this would be affecting them, and maybe they've even talked about it. Maybe they're actively talking about it. The way that he has asked the question, maybe he has been asking other people questions about people who have come here, and they've already shared, and this is just we are just part of the people that he's asking
to,
and that is going to make it very easy for whoever is coming, that they will not have it very hard. And I think also the other difference is it a guy coming or is it a lady?
It's Moses is the one who's coming.
So for the guy, it also interferes. Your ego will be bruised. You will be like, how can I sit here and someone is providing for me?
But he has a spousal visa, so that means he'll get his he'll be able to work like almost immediately.
But he will take like 3 months before he starts working.
Oh yeah.
So maybe. Those 3 months, if you are not used to someone taking care of you, and you may come here with your money, yes, but that money may run out very quickly because the expense ratio here is huge and it's high. So in terms of the guy coming in, maybe a lady coming in is very, very different, but for a guy coming in, your ego will really be bruised.
I feel like that's one of the things that we at the beginning at least struggled with. But like, what really brought us together, what would you say?
What brought us together?
Yeah, what has brought us together throughout that time?
I think just the things, just going through life, that I think has brought us together, because the different stages that we've gone through in terms of me getting a job, we've had so many like small milestones to celebrate, and those are the things that bring us together. Even when you're watching your favorite team and they win, that makes you love the team more. So you work together, you go through the struggles, you pick yourself up, you sit down, you analyze your future, you analyze the challenges that you've gone through, and then you forge your way forward. I feel like when you think about something and it actually actualized, it makes you appreciate each other even more, and it makes you see your partner in a better perspective than you used to. So I think even in marriage, because you're spending so much time together, there's a lot of uncertainty, and you are thinking, are we able to achieve this as other partners have? And I think when you are able to help each other and grow together, like she helped me a lot even in learning how to drive in the US, because I didn't go to a driving school here. This was my driving school. So when you are able to make those mistakes, like one day I just changed the lanes into the opposite side of traffic, and I was like, she still encouraged me, and with that I feel like I became even a better driver. I'm not saying better than you. I am not.
No, it's okay. You can say it. You consider yourself a better driver than me.
Thank
you. Which, guys, he considers himself.
I think I'm a better driver, and I am going to solidify that by saying that I have been a very good scorer in our new app.
Oh my God, this app will be the death of us.
For the first time, we got 100% score.
Because I wasn't driving.
You can say that. The app...
He will never leave me alone. He will never leave me alone.
Yeah, so...
Guys, this is what happens sometimes. You do something for someone and now they see themselves better than you. But it's okay.
The truth is, those milestones, they help you come back together and grow stronger. I think those are the things. Because you look at yourself, even when you are fighting, sometimes you look at the things you've gone through when you are having that silent time. When you fight, you don't have to fight the whole round. Sometimes you fight because you are not agreeing about something, and then you take a break, and then you go and analyze. You just think about the things maybe that you've gone through, and you're like, you know what, if tomorrow we have to do, maybe there's an appointment that you are supposed to go together. We have to go together, so we have to figure out how to be together. And again, if you have a kid, it complicates it even more, because the kid doesn't know that you guys have disagreed.
It's very hard to fight when you have a child. Like, they just interfere with it. Like, why are you now smiling? We are fighting. But they're like, mommy, daddy, mommy, look at daddy. Oh, daddy, sijui what.
Come and sit. Let's go to daddy. And you're like,
let's sit next to daddy. Like, oh my God.
So she's here and you just look at each other. You're like, you're just apologizing as you look at each other. You're like, you know what? Let's do this. Especially, for instance, for us, we usually have to pray every night before she goes to bed. So we've done that. Even if you are fighting, you have to pray. If it is your turn to pray, you pray for the family.
Yeah.
And then you have, after that, now we have to talk. Then I think those are the strengths.
Yeah. I think all that to say, I think the thing that has held us together is first our love for each other, because it's true love. Second, our commitment to making it work. Like, I think we've struggled through some things that if we were not committed enough, maybe we wouldn't be sitting here today. And sometimes, they say love is not enough, and actually that's true, because we've loved each other for so long, so many years, and until we were really committed to be together and make it work, it didn't work. So that commitment has continued to be there. And even in the struggles that we've been in when we got married and the transition period, I think the commitment to learn and unlearn things has been really tremendous, because sometimes you just learn things along the way and maybe they're not the right things. You're just learning maybe survival skills, let's just say, and survival skills, they don't work very well in marriage. Like, you actually have to know and have to learn how to be with your partner, how to be the best partner for them, how to actually hear what they're saying and respond appropriately and not overreact and apologize, and also know that you have to contribute, not just waiting for your partner to be like, oh, but he's not doing this for me, he's not doing this for me, he's not doing this for me. Are you doing that for him? Are you? Those are questions I had to ask myself. Like, why am I sitting here and waiting for him to do all these things for me? What am I doing for him? And I'm sure even you, like, the same, some of the things, when things would happen, maybe you would ask yourself questions, right? And be like, okay, maybe that's something I need to unlearn and learn what works for us in this relationship and in this marriage. Also, don't compare to like your previous like whoever you are previously. Honestly, it doesn't matter. If you're in a marriage, whoever you are before then, like however you are in relationships, it doesn't matter, because they didn't work. That is why you are in this one. This is the one that is supposed to last. So you learn the things that are working here where you are, and you continue to improve day by day, day by day, day by day. Yeah. And if you stay committed, it gets better by the day. So that is it, guys.
Next question.
Hello guys, love you, and I have watched all of your content, including the love series. Kwanza ile place ya Russia yenye msichana alikuwa kwa computer. It was hilarious. Guys, the things we've done for this love, that's one of them. I do have a question though. Elle relocated in 2020 and has been in the US for 9 years before Nick joined. In less than 5 years, you guys have been able to relocate to another state, get a baby, buy a house and all that. My quiz is, what has Elle been doing since 2010? Because it looks like her life was not in motion if all these you've been able to do after Nick joined you.
Yeah, sometimes you need that driving force.
Guys, you know that song of, I'm a movement by myself, but I'm a force when we're together. If I got it right.
Nilikuwa tu nakuombea by the way, because let me tell you, when you say, you guys, you know that song, then you sing, you may sing a new song.
That's not the one that you're intending to say.
Yeah, but Elle can answer that.
Yeah, I was in school, guys. I've been a student for so long, guys, and okay, let me not say I'm done with school, because you never know and never say never. But I was in school from fall of 2010. I graduated with my bachelor's in 2015. Then I started pharmacy school in 2016 and I graduated in 2020. So when Nick joined me, I had graduated like 3 months before that. That's what I was doing. I was in school. It was hectic. It was a lot, but that's what I did with my time. And I'm so glad I did, because when you joined me, now we were able to start adulting, because you were already adulting.
Yeah, I had been adulting for 6 years.
Yeah, he had already been adulting. Me, I was still a student, so I had to start this adulting thing. And I think that has enabled us to like just adult
together.
Yeah.
I think the experience that I come with in terms of I have been adulting and her be getting ready to adult, and when I landed, it was just for us to just hit the ground running and make sure that everything, first of all, the foundation is well set, and then we start moving forward. But I think also one of the things, the biggest driving force is the fact that we talk a lot, especially when it comes to decisions. We talk a lot, and I am very good at looking at all the angles, and she is very good at looking at one direction. She's like, this is where we are going, and me, I'm like, okay, if this is where we are going, have you looked at this and that and this, and what if this doesn't happen? It means this will not happen and this will not happen. Then we sit down. We usually take a lot of time. Even the way we say, oh, this house, do you know how long it took us to talk about the house? It took us 2 years to just talking about the house, because when we were in an apartment, we were talking about where we are going next.
Yeah.
And then when the baby came, we were talking about again where we go next. But we opted to rent out a house, and when we rented that house, we started talking about our future. Are we staying here longer, or are we moving out and getting our own place? Because getting either a mortgage or getting into renting, they're like this. Here, things are the same. Like whatever people pay as rent, most likely is just a few dollars over, and then now you are paying your own house, you know? And sometimes I have to say, when you are alone, all these fears you have, they actually either put you down or you overcome them. And most times they put you down. You're like, hey, I buy a car. I'm imagining you're in Kenya. Hey, why would I buy a car? And then someone will just hit it, and then now I have a dent, and now I have to worry about parking when I go to maybe to town, and now I have to worry about repairs. But if you're with someone else, you'll be like, at least he told me he knows some mechanics around. So if I buy the car, you'll have an excuse for your partner. You're like, even if something goes wrong, it's the two of us. It's not just one of you.
We can deal with it together.
We can deal with it,
I think our dynamic, the way that we are, the way that we think, and the way that we talk with each other has really helped us like be able to reach our goals. Because I feel like both are important. To me, like he said, when I'm there, I'm like, okay, if those are the problems or the things that we are afraid of, or the things that might bring us problems, let's just problem solve, or like let's just shoot for it, and we'll deal with things as they happen. Because sometimes those problems are only in your head. They never come to pass. They never become problems. And if they do, we have had a thought about like what we can do, you know? So it's a really good dynamic that we have going on here. Alrighty. And then there was someone that told us a very beautiful story about how like she did her K1 in 2024, and now she's in the US. Congratulations. And then she did have a question and a request for a video of how Nick was able to join IT profession from Kenya, and how his journey was in fitting in the US IT job market.
I think we have that video out.
I think we had said like we'll talk more about like how you went from from contract to like going to like
the whole thing is showing up and pushing yourself and learning and using the people you find in your new work location or where you've been assigned, using them as instruments to make you learn more quickly. Because if you get into a new environment, don't close yourself up and don't be clouded. Don't see yourself as less qualified. This is how I consider myself. I know I'm very qualified. I just need to adjust to the environment. And how to adjust to the environment quickly is, first of all, just accepting that the people you find there most likely know more than you, and always setting up time to openly talk to them and to express what you want to achieve, and hoping that this person would direct you or give you pointers in getting to where you're supposed to. And you actioning. It doesn't just depend on them. So you have to action it, and you have to be very consistent and just follow on that path.
Let me just tell you guys something that is very different in the workforce here in the US than in Kenya. or like the way that we're brought up in Kenya, like you're brought up like, oh, don't talk about yourself and don't toot your own horn and everything, and the quieter you are, the more respectable you are deemed, right? Here, ongea, like talk, like you wanna toot your own horn, you want to talk in meetings, you want your voice to be heard. Sometimes you can be quiet over there with great ideas, and somebody who is talking and they are not saying nothing because they just talk and people are just used to hearing their voice, they'll be chosen for things and you'll be left there even if you're more qualified. So,
and sometimes you even have better ideas.
You have
this person always relies on you. They always sit next to you and you tell them what you think, and then they use that platform to tell the leaders, and then you are left there. But the good thing is, once you're able to express yourself, you can actually move mountains. That talent, that energy that is in you, that brilliance that is in you will come out. The day that you realize that you can actually do it. So for me, just to cut the story short, I got into IT here. I remember we had a huge discussion because I was here for a while before I got the opportunity to start working. And we talked about this whole issue of, do I get into a new career or do I get into the career that I've done? So I was professionally working in a bank for 6 years. And all I knew is the corporate Kenya. When I came here, I said, the easiest journey I can take is get into IT again. But this time, just be ready to learn a lot and put all, this, you can have this whole ego that I want to start from here. Just start from where you can. Learn as much as possible and hope to continue growing. And that is what I did. And I was lucky to be able to pass a set of interviews, and I got a permanent job, and that was big, coming from a contractor to a permanent job.
Yeah. I would say I always encourage anybody, and this is like anybody, if you're coming from I think you mentioned this earlier, if you're coming from anywhere else and you're coming to America and you have education, you have skills, you have talent, something that you've been doing already, you already know how to do, just focus on that. In the US, like, you will find the job that you're looking for. I know it's hard, and sometimes when you meet people, they say, oh, here in the US you can only work in the healthcare industry, oh, here in the US you can only work. Lies. You can work in any industry that you have. Getting in might be a little harder because it's tough to have your first job if you don't have a job here in the US listed, but those agencies, they do come into play a lot, the contracting agencies. So look on Indeed, look on these hiring websites. You can go to job sites, different job sites, and you might find like some jobs listed there. Even if it's like through a contracting company, that's a way to get your feet wet. It might not be the best pay or like what you're expecting to find the first time, but once you have that job on your resume, that will now be your stepping stone into the next one and the next one and the next one. And I feel like if you spent like him 6 years plus the time that you went to school, 4 years, 10 years in a profession, you know a lot. Next question is, how do you all manage to be so positive with life, love, and work? We just are. It's a decision in your mind, by the way. Like, you can decide, I'm going to enjoy this life, or I'm going to let it stress me out.
And we are so positive with life, love, and work. Me, that part of work, how did they see it? I don't think we've shared so much about work.
See, YouTube is work.
Oh,
this is work. Like, it's a lot of work, actually.
Let me tell you guys. Me, I will explain, because I don't think we've done so many videos about work. But me for some reason, I've always taken my work very seriously. Even from Kenya, when I came here, I know this is what feeds my family, and this is what can elevate me. So I put in so much effort into this work. And believe it or not, I know in the US most people usually don't say, oh, I travel. My work, I usually travel at least 1 hour every morning, one way, just to get to work. And I have to get there on time, and I have to deliver. So the positivity and all this energy that I have is, number one, because I know I have a family to feed. Number two, I know this is the thing that will elevate me. Because you have a small kid, you have to strive and work so hard in order to make it also come true for them. Because when they grow up and they need to be exposed you need money to be able to take them to these places or to these areas or to these education centers that will make them elevate depending on what interest they'll have. So in terms of work, yes, that is, and I think even for her too, I can speak for her, because sometimes when you beat your own drum, it's like, but for you, I feel like she really puts in a lot. I can see, because there are days that I'm not usually working and she's working. I can see how much effort she puts into it. And every evening when we come home, we usually have to ask each other, how was your work? Actually, nowadays, we've even shortened it, because sometimes halfway through the day when I'm having lunch, we usually have a call, and we have to just catch up and know, how was your day? How is your day going? How is my day? And sometimes I talk even in advance, what I'm going to do tomorrow. And sometimes I feel like I restrict myself not to work even at night, because I'm like, okay, I need to just cut it at that point. But when I'm at work, yes, I have to be positive because of those reasons. And then love and life, you're breathing. This is the chance you have on earth, right? And if we don't love our lives, who will love it for us? Yeah. And what we realize also, for our mental health, you have to be positive within your space first before you go out there and seek other people's energy. So one thing that I learned is being positive within myself first. Because if I can't be positive within myself, then you can't see that positivity
in anyone.
And she's actually a very bubbly human. So that's also another thing. I think you even tone it down sometimes, because I usually, whatever I see when the cameras are not even on, like, she's a very bubbly human. So you tell us how your love, life, and work, how you stay positive.
I stay positive because I am, I just feel it in my spirit. I feel it in my heart. Wow, the Lord has blessed me with everything. What more could I ask for? And I think it wouldn't be right to not be positive and be happy and be joyful, because you know how, when someone does something for you, you just feel the joy and you feel the happiness. That's how I feel with God. And I feel like me being positive, and actually it's one of the things that inspires me so much to share it out there, because God answers prayers. Guys, God really does answer prayers, and he has literally answered all of my prayers, honestly. I'm here to praise his name and just say, yes, thank you, Lord, for blessing me, and I will live as though you have blessed me. I want people to see the joy of the Lord in my heart, through my spirit, through my work, through my everyday. And it doesn't have to be, I don't have to wait for a moment. I can just be positive right now, today, here and now, with you, with my baby, with my family, with my friends. That's it. It's the joy of the Lord.
Wow.
Yeah. Liz was asking of videos on your day-to-day. So we said we'll work on those. How do you create a spark in your marriage despite working an 8-to-5 job and a toddler involved? Guys, intentionality.
Yeah.
Time together. Quality time. So let me tell you.
Another one. Hey, we love watching reality series. That's how we also create that spark, because we've realized one thing. We like watching those reality series, and then we like commenting on them. That has created a new spark in our lives. I'm looking forward to watching an episode. Actually, right now, it's not that I have to edit this video, but there's a series that we are watching that we have not finished, because yesterday we were so tired to finish it. So this series can be 45 minutes long. We will watch it for 2 hours, because
we are talking more than
the it's sparking a lot of conversation. So that's one way that we realize is creating a spark in our marriage.
Yeah. So another thing that we do, which involves that as well, is, especially lately in the schedule that we have now, usually, speaking of the toddler takes a nap when I'm done with my work day. So around 4:30, maybe 5. Right now she's sleeping, but today is Saturday anyway. But during the weekday, she'll take a nap after my work day. So, and you get home when she's still taking a nap. So that is our time. Usually when you get home, we're just like, let's just spend this time together. So we'll do things like we'll either watch a show if that's what we're doing that day. We'll talk about our day. We'll just hang out, just whatever we need to do together, among other things, guys, just to keep the spark alive and just get that togetherness, so that when she gets up, sometimes she'll join us and we'll just like chill, or now we start the second phase of the day. And I feel like every day having a moment together, like an hour or so, like really has improved our marriage.
Yeah, I think the intentionality is the short form.
Being intentional about keeping your marriage alive, guys, that's what keeps it up.
These questions, guys, let me just say, these questions, all of them deserve like a full video.
Honestly, like
me, that's what I feel.
Hello, Ellen. Nick, my question is to Nick on relocation. What are some of the culture shocks he experienced?
Hey, driving.
You big driver. You best driver.
I was driving for 6 years, but kwanza me, the biggest culture shock is when you come from Kenya and you know how to drive and you know all the rules and you know all the shortcuts, then you come here. And now you're driving on the opposite side of the road. That is the biggest shock on your life. And even coming to the point where you know and you are comfortable to drive alone in the car is also a big adjustment. The other big adjustment is the way just things run. Like everything is an expense. Like from the internet, which people say even in Kenya we have internet, to anything you watch, like your local TV, it has to connect. Some of them don't even connect using the internet, to your bills, everything from your trash to even changing anything in front of your house. For instance, if you want to remove a flower and put another one, you write to the city and
it's too much.
It's too much. And the way people spend here, people are good. What was the question?
Some of the culture shocks you experienced.
Yeah, people know how to shop. If you go into a store, supermarket, they call it stores here. If you go into a supermarket and you're like, you see how people shop, you ask yourself like, what is going on? Like, you see a mother with a full cart, the father with a full cart, the babies have another cart they are pushing together. You're like, what is happening in this country? And then the other culture shock is people have big cars. Me, I've never seen big cars like I've seen here, by the way.
Yeah.
The way people say Ford Ranger is a big pickup truck in Kenya. Ford Ranger is a very small truck here. Me, I've seen trucks called Ram. Hey, those things are big. And then people love RVs. That is another culture shock. And then these people, the way you see them in like movies and the way we used to see, like, let's say the white people, we used to see them like very easily dressed, and when they come to Africa, they don't dress so much. These people are so easygoing. Like, you may find people, there's a section of people who really care about brands. Oh, that's another culture shock. People love their brands. I have never seen something like that. But again, here people are very easygoing. The way Africa, you can walk in, and when people go to the city or to a town, they are all well dressed. Like, oh my God. Here people are easy. You see the way I'm dressed? This is just what someone can put on like every day. Even when you are going to work, people are so easily dressed. We are official, yes, but not like in Kenya. So those are the culture shocks.
Like, what he's saying is like suit and tie, and here is like
people are wearing
polo
suits.
And
me, I can walk into
a khaki.
I can walk into a workplace and I will see maybe 2 or 3 people out of 4,000 wearing ties in a day. So it's very different.
Another thing, let me just say for you, is like people can be very senior in your company and you may never know.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a level of simplicity that I've come to see here and appreciate that I never used to appreciate elsewhere. Like, you can be talking to a vice president of your company or your director. You may come across them, talk to them. They may just say, hi, how are you doing? How is your day? Oh, where are you from? And you talk. And then when you're done, someone tells you that's a vice president. And the way you talked, nothing gave a signal that this person is very high ranking. There's a way they treat people like you feel like you are equals with a lot of respect. You feel the respect definitely, but that is a big shock. In Kenya, my friend, the director will even have a bodyguard. You will feel, you'll be like, who is that person and why is he having so much protection?
Yeah.
You know? And you'll feel the power around him.
Yeah. You're welcome, guys, for that extra I put in there for you guys. Okay, somebody else asked, key aspects of budgeting to be covered, relocating to US via green card and or K3 visa ukingojea kazi. This is a whole video.
Yeah, this is a whole video. I think we did a video. There's a video we did about green card. That video was very well explained. Please, if you can find time, go and look. It is the only, we have two videos that one we did question and answer. I think that one is the one that we answered a lot of questions
about budget,
about green card.
Oh, the one we did with my brother?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That is a very good video. Please watch it. It will answer 100, almost 90% of your questions.
Yeah, go watch that. I think we might put it in the description or in the cards, maybe. So that one, my brother and his wife and his family, his 3 kids, they relocated to the US not too long ago, and we did like a breakdown of how much it cost them, like what they had to pay and things of that nature. And then when you come here, now it becomes a whole new things, because it depends on like how you settle, like your rent, whatever, where you're gonna be staying, is someone hosting you or not. So if you still have questions after watching that, just DM us, we might do a video on that. Another question from Judy Powers: what legacy do you guys want to build in terms of YouTubing and content
in future? Even if someone looks at our page and they are in that stage of life, they may find it still useful. I feel like if you are able to touch lives beyond maybe the next 5 years, to me that's a big legacy.
So touch lives in what way? I think like
in terms of relationships, if you are able to talk more about our experiences and be in a position to answer most questions that people may have in that stage of life and even beyond, will be very important. That's the legacy we want to be known as, like the people who always openly talked about their experiences and helped a lot of people in answering questions related to relationships, especially when you are young in marriage. Yeah,
guys, we love community and we love building people up, and for us, in our case, the family is the building block of the community. So that's why we are very passionate about our family. And of course, family starts with marriage. I know there are very many like different forms of families, and families come about in different ways, but we think if the marriages in our society and in our community are strong, then the families will also be strong, and in turn the community will be a strong community and the society will be able to thrive. So we are trying to encourage people to keep working hard on their marriages. It's not easy, but even us, we are here 4 years in, it's not forever yet, so we still have a long way to go. But we are willing to learn as we go along, and we are willing to help others if it's something that we can help, if it's like a piece of knowledge that maybe we have, or something we've experienced that maybe if you heard about it, it might steer you in a positive direction. That's what we hope to do, like encourage each other, inspire each other to find marriage meaningful and want to keep it going, so that our families are strong, our communities are strong, and the society at large is strong.
It's not easy, but we will work a day at a time.
Yeah, so that's what we are.
Or a video at a time.
A video at a time. And even when we show you guys like what we are doing, like at home, the simple things, guys, like it doesn't have to be, when you're growing up, you think like, you always hear the stories or watch the movies of like, and they lived happily ever after. What is that happily ever after? Nobody now told you, and in that happily ever after there were problems, and in that happily ever after you needed to be intentional about it, and in that happily ever after, like they just left as hanging. It's like when you get into that marriage, now everything should be okay, and that's what we go into marriage thinking. But there is so much work to be done, it's just, I'm just like, why is nobody telling people like what actually needs to happen for things to be successful? So we hope to be like at least one of the voices or one of the people that you can relate with, talk about things with. We share our experience, we share our stories. Maybe it sparks you in a positive way, and life goes positively for you as well. So yeah. Okay, that was a great question, by the way. Another one, which other state in USA would you consider to move into and why?
So guys, say hi to our little one. She has finally woken up, and we are not yet done with our video. We are still continuing. We had to take a short break because we had to accommodate her, make sure she's comfortable. Then here we are. I would say California. That was the other state, and it's basically just because of the weather. The factors that make us not to consider it right now is, number one, we live here, we have a home. If we were to move to California, we have to adjust a lot of things. It's so hard to pluck yourself from one state to another state, especially in this country, if you are professionals, and there are some professional certificates that are attached to the states, exams that are statewide, state-centric. So if you move from one state to another state, you have to do the exam for that state in order to be certified for that state. And then you have to look for a new job. You have to change your residency to that state. And by that I mean there are some states, depending on where you live, maybe for you to be a resident, you should be living there for 6 months, others maybe a year. And others I don't know, because I don't know all the rules for other states.
Yeah.
You have to also look at proximity to family, because again, like we said, you are in a new environment. Having family around plays a very critical role in deflating some of the stresses of life.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have to consider all that.
The cost of living between Arizona and California is significantly different. So of course that would need quite a bit of planning and quite a bit of changes and so on. Maybe Washington, what do you think?
Washington, the only problem is the 45 degrees that they're experiencing right now. And that's a high. We are not even in the night yet. So it will dip maybe to around 20 or 15, which will be way lower.
Yeah. I mean, I lived in Washington. Seattle weather to me is not too bad, but if you go to the east side of Washington, like Spokane area, that's where I went to school. Spokane, Pullman. Gosh, almost forgot the name of the place I went to school. The Pullman area, basically the east side of the state. The weather is so different. Like it snows a lot in the winter time, and then during the summer it's really hot. So that's not ideal, that's not conducive. I did that for many years, not looking forward to doing that ever again. Washington, Seattle area, so the west side of the state, it just rains a lot, and then it's very, like, it's much chillier definitely than here. So yeah. We do have lots of family and some friends there, so I wouldn't mind, but it would require too much.
I think it would be easier if you're watching us from whichever state you're in. Can you write the pros and the cons for the state? Just write maybe Washington, pros and cons, the main ones. And then maybe you are in Baltimore, go to New York, pros, cons, Texas, pro, cons. I feel like
Iowa. I wanna know.
Iowa.
Oh, and someone was inviting us to Minnesota in the summer.
Okay. That's a good invite. We'll look at it. I didn't even know.
Yeah, that's one of the things that came into the question box actually.
So Minnesota,
let us know what's good,
cons,
what's bad there.
Yeah, maybe California too. Pros, cons.
Let us know where we should go.
Yeah, even if you live in Canada, just write the pros and cons of where you live, and
wherever you
never know who is watching and who's reading the comments.
Yeah, even in South Africa, even in Zambia, wherever you live.
In UK, especially UK. I don't know. Australia.
Actually, UK. A lot of people told us they're watching us from the UK.
Yeah, just write the pros and cons of the city you live in currently, so that we also read, and maybe one day we'll just do a video. When maybe if we get another chance to do a video, we'll just go through them and say these are the pros and cons of the different cities based on the people who live in these cities.
Or we might come visit you, maybe. Who knows? We love to travel.
Yep.
Okay, another question. Some of these we've already talked about. Challenges of Arizona. How do you balance between work and social life in Arizona? I think we answered that already. Ooh, This one is for both of us. How's life in the States? Would you consider coming back to Kenya?
It depends when. We were in Kenya 2 years ago.
Yeah, and do you mean
Like
maybe they mean
relocating
back?
100%. Of course, we think about that in the future, not like in the present, like next year we are going to relocate to Kenya. How is life in the US?
Life in the States?
United States, yes.
Life in the States is good, actually. And life in the States is how you make it. Some people live here and they're very miserable because the way that the society is, the way that the default for America is work. If you want anything different than working 24/7, you have to be very intentional about it. Even like having a family, like having just a normal regular routine, actually being present and having a social life, having hobbies, having whatever you want to do, you actually have to be very intentional about it. So generally speaking, life in America is good because we have been intentional about, I think we try to make our lives feel as close to Kenya as possible by
within the house,
within the home. Yeah, like
within
our
the
schedules are like, it's like we're working in Kenya. We both work like Monday to Friday 8 to 5, and then when we come home, it's like we have fostered more of a Kenyan culture in the way that we do things, like what we eat, how we do things. I don't know how to explain it. So we've tried to make it be more as close to Kenyan culture as possible.
Yeah,
so it's been good. Considering coming back, since I came to the US, I've been to Kenya 3 times, and since Nick came, we've already been back once. We'll definitely come back. Kenya ni home. Kenya is home, like for sure. So we just don't have like plans to relocate back right now, but it's in here. It's in the back of our heads.
Yeah,
when the time is right. What are the best cities in Arizona to live? Expound more on these cities: Chandler, Tempe, Mesa, and Glendale. Hey,
I think they are all different in different forms and ways. And for instance, I would say Glendale, because we've lived in Glendale at some point. Glendale has different sides. So the side we lived in was just a different way, like, of living, more apartments, older apartments, I would say, older houses, and a good place to start, especially if you're starting over or you're starting life.
Starting new, yeah.
Yes. And then there's a side of Glendale that looks more posh and better kept, and that's where we have the stadium closer to a place called 101, and I feel like that's a nice place to live in because it's next to the entertainment district, which is really good. And then Mesa.
Mesa, Chandler, Tempe. Those are more in the east side.
I feel like Mesa. I don't know much about Mesa, but I've gone to one side of Mesa, so I can't really give a good perspective of Mesa.
Yeah, I feel like the east side, we don't go there as much, and we haven't interacted with those cities as much. Maybe Tempe a bit. Tempe is more of a college town, and
we had a friend who lived there.
And it has like a lot of the industries, companies. How many? The tech companies, they are more in Tempe.
I feel like Tempe is more urban. And if you want the more urban living, uptown kind of life where people are like moving around, we have scooters. People are like, you take a scooter here, you leave it here, you pay a scooter, you go to the next place. So much Uber driving. We have a lot of trains. Those, how do you call those trains? The electric trains that move around. So it's very urban and different from the other residential areas like Mesa. Mesa and Tempe are very different in terms of the way they look. I feel like Mesa is way older and it has like really old houses and also has really old industries. I think the big company that makes airlines is also over there. Yeah. We have like a big air base over there, and that's all I know because people it shouts. Yeah, and also if you live in either of those cities, like I said, the pros and cons, just write them.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you host if someone wins green card?
Hey, I think we answered that question in the video that we did with your brother. And we said hosting is not a joke. Hosting is just not people coming in and staying in your house, like the way people think it's just coming in and staying in your house. There are like some tax documents you have to send that we have to qualify, right? They look at our number, where we live, our income, the amount of money we use or we spend. They can approximate, and then they look at what is the number you are hosting. Is it one person? Is it two people? Is it an adult?
So there's a lot of things that go into hosting. So it's a real like consideration. If you're deciding to host someone, so many things have to be in place. So let me just say, because I saw this question a lot, we don't have the intention of hosting anyone in our house unless it's like family or yes, family. I think only family, right? Yeah. And the reason is like it's a lot. And we're just gonna say, because a lot of people have asked that question over time. It's not that we don't want to, but we do know people that do host people, and we can connect you to them. People that already have systems of how they do it and where they take the people and where you're gonna stay and all of that. So we can connect you guys to someone that is doing that. Maybe you can take it from there. Hi, I have an appointment for a B2 visa in March. I'm nervous. Can you advise me? Also pray for me. Oh, okay. We pray that your interview goes well and that you get your visa. So for advice, nervous, it happens because it's something you're doing maybe for the first time, and also like not knowing what the outcome will be, that can make you nervous. But when you go there, just know God already knows what the outcome is. You're just presenting yourself as a formality. So just pray to God that you getting the visa is in his plans for you, because if it is, nobody can stop it. If it's not, or it's not yet time, maybe it's gonna go the other way. So just think about it like that. That's usually how I think about things. Like, I'm stressing about this thing and God already knows the outcome. Just pray that what you're doing is in his will for you, because that is the only way it will come to pass. So we pray that it's in God's will for your life and that you do get it, and when you get it, everything will go smoothly. Let us know how it goes. So how do you manage to keep your marriage alive considering you're working most of the time?
I think we answered that.
Intentionality and making time, quality time, and talking, communication. What do you guys do, and how do you manage work and the baby considering how expensive the nanny is?
I'm an IT engineer. And what are you?
Oh, I'm a pharmacist.
So I'm an IT engineer and an editor. I need to put that because I have done this for over 3 years. So I'm an IT engineer and I'm a video editor. And you're a content creator. And soon to be guys. I'm a video. Let me. I will start again. I'm an IT engineer, a videographer, a video editor, a content creator, and soon to be a producer.
A producer?
Doing all these things, I'm producing.
You're already producing.
I know, I'm already a producer.
And a director.
And a director. But I think mostly, like, let me just say content creator. But inside it, I feel I'm more of an editor and a director.
Me, I'm a pharmacist. I'm a content creator, creative director. Professionally, I'm a pharmacist. How do you manage work and the baby considering how expensive? My mom usually helps us with the baby, comes here and watches the baby as I work. And yeah. Okay. And then I think, are we at the end?
That's it?
I think that's it.
We are done. I think that's the longest video. I think it's almost 2 hours.
Yeah, and we're not done yet because we still have our announcement. Okay. If you're still here, you're an OG, like you are the best of the best. So we have saved the best for last, guys. We promised you we have an announcement coming. Do you want to tell them?
No, you should be the one telling them.
Why should I want to tell them? A lot of you have been asking us so many questions about, even in these questions, like, how are you guys keeping your marriage alive? How do you do this? All these questions. And now, for the moment we've all been waiting for.
And it is something big. And what is that thing?
The big thing is our very own podcast, guys. Yes, we have decided that we will start a podcast to talk specifically about like marriage, and basically just like share our story. And even as you guys have seen, people have a lot of questions about like, how do you keep your marriage alive, how do you manage to, all these questions about marriage. And what we hope to make our legacy be is, shine a positive light on marriage, the family, and community at large. And we think this will be a really good way of doing that. So the name of the podcast is
Newly Married.
The Newly Married Podcast.
Yes. So we are very excited about it, and this is a podcast that will be housed in this same channel, and we'll make sure that we alternate it with the vlogs. So the vlogs are not going away. We'll still include, so this is just an addition to what our channel has been known for, and we'll be keeping on uploading and putting these videos alternatively, so that if we have a podcast this week, we'll have a vlog next week.
The Newly Married Podcast is coming to you shortly. We'll be working on our first episode coming soon, and as he said, we'll be alternating with the vlogs. So I know you guys love our vlogs, we know that, so they'll be here in the YouTube channel, and then also in wherever you listen to your podcasts in. It will be a podcast discussing like marriage, questions about marriage, issues about marriage, a space to share and a space to have a positive community with the same intention of enjoying marriage and making marriage last, and just helping each other either like through challenges and things like that. We hope that you are excited as we are, and we look forward to your support, to your questions, to your contribution. We will explain a lot more when we are actually starting the podcast. So that's the announcement. Are you excited? Let me know in the comment section below.
So guys, with that, we come to the end of the question and answer video. Thank you so much for everyone who has sent in their questions. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share the video.
Yes. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
love you. Bye.
Yeah, this is a very good day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Kick us off is L.
I'm a force. I'm a movement by myself, but I'm a force when we're together. Did you come if I got it right?
Nilikuwa tunakuombea by the way. Ama kamera inafeel iko chini.
Babe, is we want to be closer.
Okay.
Is
all encompass on
Now you're saying it on set. Now I'm disillusioned.
You are not, because you can't even say the word.
Guys, what do you do?
About work?
Yeah.
We make sure we go to work without fail.
No, what do you do? What do you guys do? Like, what are you? What's your profession?
Oh. Hey, Yawa. Hey, what kind of an answer was that? How are you? I am going home.
And me, what am I usually? What do you write me as? Oh my God, don't put this in there. Usually unasemanga?
You're a creative director.
Hey, yes, okay.
I feel like you've interfered with my emotions by saying that, by the way.
Then let's change the battery and take a second. Yeah, so there's a lot of things that go into... So like, share, and subscribe, guys, and watch out for our next video. Love